So kind of with all of that talk of what humans are putting into the Earth's atmosphere as we burn fossil fuels specifically, and some other things that we do to add pollutants to the atmosphere, I think these last few slides are encouraging. They encourage me anyway. We'll see what you think. For example, one of the things I didn't emphasize, but you know, the Dust Bowl conditions back in the 1930s, actually those were kind of man-made. I won't say kind of. It's my understanding that the misuse of or the wrong techniques for farming actually kind of left the land vulnerable for the prevailing winds to go ahead and pick up and move that topsoil just because we weren't farming correctly. But my point here is that we have made strides then in farming, and so the Dust Bowl should not happen again. 1950s, the United States looked at our industries and required our industries to look at their emissions, and to their particulates have been regulated. Then in 1970, the Clean Air Act was enacted, and the EPA was established in 1970. And in 1970, part of the Clean Air Act is that not only with regard to particulates, but also these gases, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, the nitrogen oxides, the industries had to meet certain standards. Notice that also ozone standard was set for ozone as far as coming from industry. Then the Clean Air Act of 1970 was amended in 1990. So see what you think. There are 3 lines here, starting 1900 to 2010. This one down here, this dark blue one, represents nitrogen oxides, and you can kind of see since 1970, wow, you know, you can, at least it was flatlined and maybe even kind of going down here in the 1990s. But boy, check out how it really went up a lot from, I don't know where you want to kind of show it drastically going up, but okay, those were nitrogen oxides. And like I said, I think now anyway, I feel like we're going the right direction. Might be kidding myself, I hope not. But sulfur dioxide is another emission, especially from our coal plants. And notice that it had some ups and downs, but here since 1970, it does, at least this graph anyway, is showing its concentration, the emission, I shouldn't say the atmospheric concentration, I should say the emissions of our plants here in the United States going down. The last one are those volatile organic compounds, those VOCs, which if they're part of burning fossil fuels, they are not toxic in and of themselves, but they can cause secondary pollutants. And again, look that those have gone down, especially since 1970. So similarly, if we look at carbon monoxide in terms of millions of tons per year, the 2 dates you're looking at here are the 1980 is the pink, and the purple is the 2007. So pretty good. I'd say it looks like we cut that in half. The nitrogen-containing oxides, looks like we didn't cut that one in half, but it's gone down anyway. The VOCs, the sulfur-containing compounds, and this last one are the particulates that are smaller than 10 microns. So this is a kind of an interesting way to look at growth areas, and then also what we've been doing with regard to our pollutant emissions from 1970 to 2007. All right, so for instance, if we look at our gross domestic product, our GDP, which I don't follow that whole, I couldn't explain what that is, but I know it has to do with, related to our factories. So we have increased 207% from 1970 to 2007. The number of miles that we travel, vehicle miles traveled, we have increased 179%. So you figure when we're driving all those vehicles, we are putting more emissions. Our energy consumption has increased over that same time only 49%, which I think is kind of cool. And actually our energy consumption looks like it kind of tracks well with our population. So in other words, our consumption didn't go, our energy consumption did not trend with our GDP. So if you know what I mean. And then I think this is other good news. So all total, that's what aggregate means. So all total, our emissions then have dropped 57%. So again, this is just one look at it. So